India's top court has struck down the 2018 introduction of the Electoral Bond scheme for contribution to political parties. Now, before we tell you about the verdict, let's in fact first try and understand as to what the Electoral Bond scheme actually is. Now, remember, the Indian government, the central government in 2018 had introduced this scheme as an alternative to the age-old practice of cash donations for funding political parties. Now, a bond is essentially a promissory note that can be bought by anyone, including individuals and companies. And these bonds can be purchased for any value in the multiples of 1,000 rupees from specified branches of the State Bank of India. But they can only be bought with money through a bank account that meets all the KYC requirements. Now, the centre's objective was to enhance transparency in poll funding. This is what the government claims. And also, my colleague Ananya Datta decodes the biggest takeaways from the verdict that has been given out by the top court in India on electoral bonds. Listen in.
In the next 2 minutes, I'll answer 2 questions for you. What the Supreme Court judgment said and which party has how much of these bonds. Let's start. Right off the bat, the Supreme Court unanimously called the electoral bond scheme unconstitutional. Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud cited violation of the right to information. Then came strict directions for political parties, donors and the bank. State Bank of India has been asked to stop issuing any electoral bonds starting today. Then came a directive that surprised many. All electoral bonds received since the year 2019, which is when it started, need to be made public. The Election Commission of India has been tasked to do it by the 13th of March. The details will have 5 things. Date of purchase, name of the purchaser, amount of electoral bond, name of the political party, and lastly, date of encashment. So everything will be out in the open. And the last big takeaway is this: any bond that has not been encashed yet by the political parties will have to be refunded. Let's now see which parties have how much of these bonds. According to the data we received from the Election Commission, the Bharatiya Janata Party has received more than half of all electoral bonds issued since the year 2019. We only have data till 2022, but let's look at it. BJP, in its own figures, puts the amount at rupees 9,208.23 crores. The main opposition party, on the other hand, the National Congress, came at a distant second, receiving rupees 964 crores. This is just 10% of the total bonds issued. On the other hand, as we said, over 50% of the total bonds were issued to the BJP. Now, at the moment, we do not have data on how many electoral bonds are yet to be encashed. We can expect some data by March 13th.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.